I'm going to be sitting here for another couple of minutes, just kind of waiting to see if Cookie joins. So just closing your eyes. Feeling your feet on the ground. Feeling the weight of your hips and your bottom in your chair. Bringing your shoulders over your hips. And lengthening upwards through your spine, all the way through the crown of the head. And then relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing around your eyes and your mouth. And tuning into your breathing. Noticing the quality of your breath. And deepening the breath over a few cycles, where you just extend your exhale out a little bit longer each time. Feel any tension at all through maybe opening your mouth and exhaling through your mouth a few times to let go of that internal tension. And kind of setting your intention to make this time for you pleasurable, but productive at the same time, to expand your sense of yourself, expand what you know about yourself, expand your ability to stay in the present moment and to notice your tendencies to always be doing, always be moving, and just see what it feels like to be in stillness. We have to still the body before the mind will begin to still. So just focusing on stillness of the body and noticing that quality of stillness. Stillness has an actual quality to it. So just tuning in and feeling the stillness. Of course, the breath is always moving. And that's a good focus for the mind. Bring the hands together at the heart. And bowing the head. Salute the teacher within. And then just interlacing the fingers. Really nice and tightly, taking out all the space in the webbing of the fingers. And let's just floss the wrist a little bit. Maybe still keeping the eyes closed and isolating the movement to the wrist while maintaining stillness through the rest of the body. And then changing the interlace of your fingers and continuing. And then let's just turn the palms away. And without pushing strongly, just beginning to stretch the flesh of the palms. And slowly starting to, without thinking about stretching the palms any further, think about straightening your elbows. So just try to straighten the elbows, pulling them in towards one another, letting whatever opening happens in your fingers and your palms happen without that necessarily being the focus. Focus is more the stretching and opening of the elbows. And then just bring the hands straight down. And then release and change the interlace. And again, just starting to press out very gently, focusing again more on the elbows. Pull the elbows in and try to straighten the elbows and just feel the effect on the palms of the hands. And you can bend the elbows out and then try to straighten them and bend them out. And just feel the effects in the hands, the wrists. And then just hold them, hold the elbows straight. And again, pull the hands down so that the palms are facing your legs. And then release. And just circle your wrists, thumbs on the outside of the fingers. Circle the other way. And then place the thumbs inside the palms of the hands with the fingers over the thumbs and circle. Go the other way. And then stretch the elbows straight and open the palms and then send the fingers straight up to the ceiling. And then turn the fingers down towards the floor, but reach the thumbs towards one another. And pull the fingers up. Widen between your fingers. Turn the fingers down. Feel the stretch on the top of the forearms. And then you're going to just keep bringing the fingers, elbows stay straight. Bring your fingers straight down towards your thighs. And then start to bring them back so that the back of the hands are on your thighs instead of the palm of the hands. And then relax your shoulders. The elbows can bend. Let the elbows bend and you're kind of letting your trunk come forward to accommodate the shortness of the arms. And just lean forward enough that more and more of your weight comes closer to your wrist, not your fingers. And then curl your fingers towards a fist. Feel all those muscles in your arms contracting. Feel the bigger stretch in your forearms. And then opening the hands again. And then coming back, bringing the fingers forward, turning the fingers towards the ceiling. Take hold of the right fingers with your left hand, pull back. and then pull down. And then the other side, pull back with your right hand on those left fingers. And then pull down. And then release. And let's take our hands, turn the hands so the fingers are facing one another and sit. Put your hands underneath your thighs, up right where the thighs meet your bottom. And then keep the hands, as much of the hand, the palm of the hand, all the way to the wrist on your chair. So kind of pressing down into the heel of the hand. And then try to elongate your trunk as you're sitting on your hands. Feel the stretch in the arms. And then pull the arm bones back. Just try to feel, or just notice where you feel something. You may not even quite know what it is. This is, something we really haven't done much of, so. Now try to pull up on your arms, even as you're keeping the heel of the hand on the chair seat, but pulling up at the same time. Feel the length in the spine and widen across your collarbones. And then release the hands, shake them out. So I'm going to turn my chair around so you can see what I'm doing. And come a little closer. It's always hard to see hand stuff. Whoops. Okay, so I'm going to sit towards the front of my chair, and I'm simply going to take my hands back onto the sides of the chair with my fingers pointing down. Okay, so I want my elbows to straighten. Make sure your feet are a little forward so that, if you bring them way back, you're going to feel like you're falling. You're going to fall forward. So get your feet forward of your knees. Now start to push the chair away from you. Don't let your hands slide down, but push yourself forward to straighten the elbows even more. Just breathe. Keep the shoulder blades down. Just notice how hard you're working and see if you can make this as little work as possible while maintaining the position. Because you're using muscles that you probably haven't used in a long time. I can certainly feel those muscles working. They're very small muscles, so the sensations aren't typically very strong, but you may be able to feel that it's really just not that easy to hold this position. And then release and just let your arms hang, and then you'll feel how good that feels. Okay, so just circle your wrists a few times. And then we're going to take the hands up higher. So actually into the onto the back. So again, I know everybody's got different proportions. I have no idea how this is working for you bigger guys, do the best you can with it. But push into the heel of the hand. And be careful not to push your spine. Don't push your spine forward. Pull the front ribs back and lift your pubic bones up and draw your tailbone down. Okay, so, and then try to elongate the front of your spine. And release. And then something that's way more familiar, let's take the arm across. And we'll drop the left ear to the left shoulder. Now just keep kind of hanging on to that arm, but raise it up and see if you can get it over your head. And this left arm, which you still have connected, hopefully. So you got to get your arms all the way over your head, all the way. Let them separate if you need to, but get them all the way. And if you can't do that, just don't worry about the rest of this, okay? Because then you're going to bend that left elbow and use that arm to pull the right arm behind your head. Every effort counts, okay? Every effort counts. Feel that stretch in your armpits. Breathe, don't hold your breath. Now we're going to side bend a little bit to the left. Push your head back into your arms. So you've probably been noticing I've been doing a lot of upper body stuff in a class. And that's because, and then just stretch the arms up. Release them. That's because I'm just like concerned how many shoulder things that I see in class that seem to be going in the wrong direction. So I just don't think we've been doing enough shoulder stuff. I'll go the other direction, left arm across. And our shoulders and our arms have such a huge impact on our heart, our lungs, and how well they function. If you get the AARP magazine, do y'all get that? Have you seen it this month? Or this latest one? Just came a couple of days ago. It's all on aging, and surprise, surprise, it is the AARP magazine, so of course it has to do with aging. But this has to do with the revolution in medicine around aging and how finally they're talking about health span instead of lifespan. Let's live. And so it gives all of these things that are being innovated and tested right now, some of which are already on the market. And I'm talking about medicines of sorts, like metformin. I don't know, does anybody know what metformin is? You may not unless you're diabetic. So metformin is a drug that they give pre-diabetic people. And what they have discovered is that it seems to, it's very effective for anti-aging. People that are on metformin stay younger longer and have more energy. I mean, this has been going on for a while. I've been reading about it for some time now. So that's on the horizon to be used more generally. Rapamycin, which is another drug that's I think in high doses is actually poisonous, but in low doses is very age protected. Take the arms up. Ah. Okay, shake out your shoulders. Yes, you feel them now, don't you? Like you didn't before. So let's go ahead and circle the head and neck. Anyway, it's a really good overview of everything that they're looking at and working on that will be coming to the marketplace within the next 20 years. But, some things within the next year, some things within the next 5 years. But it's just nice to see that anything that's associated with traditional medicine is actually looking at prevention and health span as opposed to just symptom management and managing of chronic illness. Go the other way if you haven't already. So I'm going to take it into my doctor when I see him on Monday because this is his area of expertise. And I know it's going to make him so happy to see that it's getting more mainstream. So get your strap. Mhm. Of course, I think I'm way too young to be getting an AARP magazine, but they didn't ask me. And to think that I've been getting it for almost 20 years now, it's really depressing. Okay, so put the buckle in your right hand, take the arm up and bend the elbow, reach back, grab with your left hand. Walk your hands as close to one another as you can. But everything that I read says that the number one thing of everything, the one thing that is absolutely guaranteed and is true for every human being, no matter what your genetics are, no matter what your history is, no matter what, exercise is the thing that makes the biggest difference in your health span, how long you stay healthy. So, and they still recommend about 30 minutes of movement every single day, which feels like a lot. But, in the big scheme of things, really it's hardly anything. So, Richard, you don't look like you're in pleasure. You look like you're torturing yourself, and I'm not sure why you would do that. So see if you can you work and do your left arm instead of your right. So you can just have your left arm in this position. Don't worry about your right arm. You already know you're going to have surgery. There's no benefit at this point for you to keep aggravating that shoulder, in my opinion. So I just wouldn't do it, especially unless you're enjoying it. If you have a masochistic streak that I'm unaware of, but if you don't, I just really wouldn't do it myself. This is your time. This should be pleasant. This should be enjoyable. Release. put the buckle in your left hand, take it up and over, and reach back with the right. So let's just practice stillness here so you don't have to listen to me. Just go inside and see if you can find that quality of stillness. And then release. Okay, so you can just put your strap down. And let's circle the hips. So just widen your legs, circle around. And go in the other direction. And then we'll come back up. Let's go ahead and take some cat-cow. And last exhale. Coming back to mountain pose. Okay, so let's go ahead and get your bolster and your chair. Let's face the chair. And again, as I mentioned the other day, I don't know if everybody was here or not. If your bolster won't stay in your chair because it's just too big and fat, turn it up onto its side so that it will fit. Oh, if it still won't fit, use two chairs and put the seats of the chair, the front edge of the seats of the chair together and put your bolster in it that way. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just raise your hand and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so you're gonna back up a ways. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Turn your feet in a little bit so that the outer little toe is slightly in from the edge of your mat, but the outer heels are right on the mat. And then if you can see me, I just want you to notice where my hips are in relationship to my heels, okay? So this is very typical of the way I stand. And for going forward into this next pose, I want my actual hips over my heels, and they are not. So I have to push back. Can you see the difference? I want you to really, it's not only from the outside that you can see the difference, the way it feels inside is very different, okay? So you may want to just rock forward a little bit so you can feel that versus being back in your heels, where there's a lot less pressure in your low back. Then you're going to come forward from your hip creases, put your hands on top of your bolster, and bring your head right between your arms. So you should be at a 90-degree angle at your hips. And you can either walk your feet back or walk your arms forward to get as much length in your spine as you can. Now, push from your inner heel to your outer heel and press your outer heels down into the mat. Now, squeeze your outer calves in, but not so much that you lose what you just did with your feet. Hold that, and now push out from your inner thighs to your outer thighs. So this is the way we stabilize. This is the way we prevent using our joints to support ourselves and learn to use our muscles to stabilize. Lengthen your neck. Keep your navel up, but not so much that you round your back. A long hold, because it takes a lot to get these back of the leg muscles to open. But I want you to keep going back. You'll lose it, all of this action of the legs. So you have to go back and forth. So push out through the inner heels to the outer heels and nail those outer heels down. Squeeze your outer calves in. Push from your inner thighs out to your outer hips. Feel how that activates all of your leg muscles. Draw the navel up without rounding your back. And keep your front ribs flush to the rest of your torso. Lift your armpits. Press right between your shoulder blades down without dropping your ribs. Breathe. Find your stillness. And then go ahead and come up a little bit and heel toe your legs closer, and then step in before you stand all the way up. So that pose with that long of a hold should have waked your whole body up so that you feel kind of alive. Every cell of your body is kind of tingling now. It's remembering that it has work to do. Okay, so go ahead and just put your bolster to the side. And put your hands on either side of your chair seat and step your right foot forward and your left leg back. Stay up on the toes of your back leg and try to bring your right knee to a 90-degree angle. So you're in a lunge. So keep the back heel up, not on the ground. This is a lunge, not warrior two or warrior one. Push your hips forward and get them down. The hips should be way lower than your shoulders. And you do not want to be resting on your arms or your wrists or your shoulders. You should be using your legs and your core muscles to maintain the position. So draw your shoulder blades down your back, lift your chest, and you'll know if you're using your legs, if you can bring your arms off of your chair. Get those hips down. Use your legs. Push down with your feet. Let's change sides. Step in and just switch legs. So it's not like we're trying to always just be in lunge without the support of the arms. No, I just wanted to do that so you could see how you're holding yourself up. A lot of times we don't know. We don't realize that we've lost our connection to the big muscles of the body that are actually the workhorses of our posture. And we're using, smaller muscles that shouldn't be holding us up. And we wear out our joints. Okay, go ahead and come up, stand up. So lunge is such a good pose for the hips. So we're going to do a deeper lunge. So step back just a bit. Don't get too far away from your chair. You want to still be able to reach over and grab the back of the chair. And then just walk back any amount more with your legs. Then put your right foot up into your chair seat. I know that's not easy. Do the best you can. And then see if you can step that back leg back far enough that you're up on your toes and not on your heel. And then push your hips forward. Big stretch in the groin area. So Mary Caroline, if you're getting any of that discomfort in your hip, remember you can take that back leg wider or the front leg wider. Just widen your legs to take some of the pressure off. See if that helps. And you may not want to even try to bring your foot up into the chair. Just do it on the ground, but just make sure your legs are a little wider. Okay, then go ahead and come down. And left foot up into the chair, come up into it however it works for you. And just push those hips forward. Relax your shoulders. Big time hip flexor work. And then come down. Very good. Very good work. You all did great with that. So stand in mountain pose now. And once again, bring your bolster back to your chair. And again, see if you can put it up on its side. And then get your blocks. And put your blocks in front of the chair legs. And we'll do Parsvottanasana just to continue to stretch the legs open. Okay. So put your right foot not all the way up underneath your chair, but just between your two blocks, and step your left leg back. You want a pretty good distance between your legs. And again, just Mary Caroline, remember, you can make your legs wider so that there's more space in your hips. And then we'll come forward, just put your hands on the bolster. Just be there for a moment as you start to connect in with your feet, pushing down into the ground. Relax the space between your legs, up high, up near your groin. Relax that area and push out. Now start to push your hips even more back. Don't squeeze in your upper thighs. Push out with your upper thighs. Keep pushing out as you start to come forward more. And see if you can rest your forehead on the highest point of your bolster. And then just take your arms forward and rest the elbows on the bolster and over the front. And just keep kind of working with the lifting of the legs, still kind of squeezing in the outer calves, but pulling the upper inner thighs apart and pushing everything back, hips back. And from the hips being drawn back through the strength of the legs that are actively stabilizing by pushing down, elongate through your spine, through the crown of the head. Now, at any point, once you kind of feel your way into this shape and how stable you feel in it, you can release your hands down to your blocks. But keep resting your head on your bolster. And be up on your fingertips and kind of push forward on those blocks. Like you're trying to push the blocks forward into the front chair legs. Be mindful of squeezing your groins. Try to keep them open and wide. From the backs of your inner thighs, pull apart. Stay on the inner edge of that left foot, that right foot, the front leg. Stay on the inner edge of that foot, but stay on the outer edge of the back foot. And both thighs should be rolling in. And then find a happy middle where you're working, but you're not overdoing. You're not striving. Find as much pleasure as you possibly can, even if your pose doesn't look anything like mine. And then bring your hands back up to your bolster, push up, step in, then stand up. And then we'll take the left foot forward, right leg back. And make sure your hips are turning, just be square to your chair. And just put your fingertips up onto the highest point of your bolster. Just be there, aware of your body, aware of where you are in space, how the different parts of your body are related to one another. And then as you're ready, you can slowly bring the forehead down to the bolster if that's possible for you. And then widen between your upper inner groins as you hug your outer calves inwards. And anytime you want to reach for your blocks with your hands, do that. Just feel the bottoms of the feet connected to the ground. And just kind of meditate on the bottoms of your feet and the feeling of the floor or your mat. Noticing the details of the parts of the foot that are connecting and the parts of the foot that are not. Because you shouldn't be connecting with your arches or the neck of the toes. And tune into your breath now. And then bring your hands to your bolster, push up, step in. Okay. We're going to take chair pose on the chair. So again, if you use 2 chairs if your chair will not support your bolster. Okay. And I'll go ahead and do mine that way just so you can, I just want to make sure everybody knows how to do it that way. So I'm just gonna open up my chairs with the front edge of the chair seats touching, and then putting my bolster across like that. And then I'm gonna bring my blocks close to the chair legs, and I'm just gonna have to guess kind of how far apart. And I'll be able to adjust that when I get into the pose. So I'm just gonna sit on the bolster, put my feet up on the blocks. And I want my knees hip width. Not too close, but not real far away either. And then I'm sitting fully on my bolster. So I'm gonna pause and let everybody kind of catch up. And you want your heels or your feet to be behind your knees, not a lot. And you can accomplish that by either pulling your blocks back or sitting a little more forward on your bolster. And then just, let me see, is everybody with me now? Okay, so put your hands on your knees with your elbows straight. So you're kind of leaning forward. So from there, take your tailbone down towards your bolster, and that should just automatically begin to engage your leg muscles. So you should feel your leg muscles starting to contract just from trying to take your tailbone down. Now draw your navel back. And that also draws the tailbone down. But keep your ribs up, keep your chest up, take your arms forward. Okay, so now start to reach forward until more and more of your weight comes into your legs, into your feet first, and then up through your shins and into your thighs, and pull from your inner knees back into your inner groins as you take your tailbone down. Now you can keep your arms at whatever position they need to have to be healthy, but classically, the arms would be by the ears. Okay, so not necessary. I'm just letting you know what the classical position is. So really pressing down, pulling the navel back, tailbone down. Great strengthener for your core. Great strengthener for your legs. And then lower your arms and just sit back. And you should feel like you did something. And if somebody was looking from the outside, they probably would have no idea how much you're working. Okay, so we're going to do it one more time. So hands to the knees. Kind of just put your weight into your knees with your hands. Take the tailbone down, draw your navel back as you exhale. Keep your ribs flush with the rest of your trunk. Now reach your arms forward, kind of leaning forward enough to make your legs activate. Try to keep your neck out of it, so just keep the back of the neck long. Then if you like, you can take your arms up by your ears. Breathe, push down. And lower the arms. Okay, since we're up here, we might as well take advantage of it. So let's just turn to one side and twist. And you may want to push your blocks out a little further. And just turn. Keep the chest up, keep the tailbone long, down, forward. Jillian ways to say that. Turn your head in the opposite direction. Keep your bottom heavy. And release. And go to the other side. And turn your head in the opposite direction. And come back. And then just put one arm on the back of the chair that's closest to it. So you're kind of leaning to one side. Take the other arm up and over. You only take the arm up and over if that makes sense in your body. And then we'll go to the other side. And then come back up. And then push your blocks forward enough that you can straighten your knees. Now, before you, make sure you're fully on your bolster. So really sit back, almost like you're bottom's gonna go over the back. And then that's gonna block straightening your legs maybe as fully as you would if you weren't on the bolster. But pull the toes back so you're on your heels. And then we're gonna slide our hands down towards our ankles. And you can let your back round here. And really, this is just how you want to do this. So you can, go further over to stretch your back more, or you can stay up higher with a rounded back and stretch more of the mid and upper back. I'm inviting you to find what feels best to you. Personally, there's nothing I like better than just hanging. So this is a great pose to hang in. But not everybody likes to hang. And then carefully make your way back up. And come off. And go ahead and sit in your chair and keep your two chairs close to one another. So your legs are on the outside edge, and then just pull your bolster up between your legs and then fold over it into child's pose. And the more you can rest your ribs on your bolster, better it generally feels. Relax your shoulders. And then go ahead and press your way back up. Take a deep, full inhale through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. Do that a couple of more times. Sit in the silence for just a few cycles of breath. Bring the hands together at the heart, bowing the head. Thank yourself for taking this time. May we have faith to know the divine enriches us, invigorates us, and is present with us throughout our day. Thank you for allowing me to share this journey with you. Namaste. Okay, guys, very good. Very good work. So just so you know, there will not be a class the Saturday after Thanksgiving this year. I just really need, I need a little time right now. So, sorry I didn't tell you earlier, but I didn't make that decision until yesterday. I'm kind of a fly by your seat of the by the seat of your pants kind of gal. So, I just need, I need a break. Lots going on in my world. Some positive, some not so positive. So I just need time. So I'm taking that weekend. I will see you next week. Okay? Take good care. Bye bye.